Hi, good people. This is Deborah. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Let me read the disclaimer. All information provided on this channel is for educational purposes only, and this channel strives to enlighten, not promote, or encourage the misuse of the information. I encourage you to always consider your intuition and discernment. This material is shared for spiritual study, self-exploration. It reflects ancient and modern esoteric perspective, symbolic interpretations, and experience knowledge. It is intended for those seeking to deeper their own discernment and inner alignment. I encourage you to verify truth through direct personal experience, inner guidance, and attunement to the Great Mother. Now take what resonates with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. Now this particular video is the mind as the receiver and transmitter. Let me give you an overview. The mind functions as a receiver and a transmitter of frequencies. It does not originate truth, but reflects whatever signal is tuned to. A clouded mind, like a misaligned crystal, which is the chakra, they call the chakra crystal, mind, like a misaligned crystal chakra, pulls in distortion and fear. And clear and attuned mind channel higher truth, purpose, and guidance from the higher self and the Great Mother. Practices like meditation, breath work, fasting, and intentional thought patterns can retune the mind from static to clarity. A pineal gland functions like the third and fourth dimension lands. The crown is called the crown of thorns. Why is it called the crown of thorns? Because it is in an illusion process. Keep in mind the third and fourth dimension are the playground for illusions, projecting visions that can be either authentic or deceptive without the unifying governance of the pituitary gland, which is the crown of truth. They never talk about the pituitary gland. It is the master gland. It is the crown. And they don't talk about that. They also tell you that the mind is the soul. The mind is not the soul. The mind is a transmitter and receiver. It's just like an antenna. The antenna is a transmitter and receiver. And keep it, well, I'll give it to you later on. The truth resonate of the heart. The pineal light can be fragmented, distorted, or the false light, which it is. The pineal cannot act alone. Its clarity comes only when harmonized with the pituitary gland. Directed wisdom, and the heart's incorruptible truth field. The body chemistry, particularly the balance of melatonin, serotonin, and other neuroendocrine signals, shapes the accuracy of these visions. Modern teachings often distort this, reducing the pituitary to a mechanical gland rather than a component of greater spiritual circuit. Physically and symbolically expresses excess mucus and symbolic. Excess mucus in the brain forms a veil that dulls perception and separation awareness from higher awareness. Yes, excess mucus. You get a certain amount of mucus. Your body produces a certain amount of mucus, but that excess mucus, it clouds a lot of things. uh, in some case dulls it. So it dulls perception and separates awareness from higher awareness. It separates. You can't see. It's not clear. This blockage is worsened by poor diet, environmental toxic, low vibrational living, but can be cleared through spiritual discipline, clean living, deep purification, when the body and the mind are free from interferences. The soul can receive and radiate, the self can receive and radiate the pure signals of divine truth, unfiltered, unfragmented, untouchable by deception. The human body has always been the original blueprint for which human inventions are copied. Everything is copied from the human body. So everything that you see on the outside is copied from the human body. The body is the blueprint. The car that you drive, it mirrors the body. Its engine corresponds to the brain that powers all functions. The fuel to the blood carrying energy is the wheels to the legs moving the vehicle forward, and the lights to the eyes guiding the way. The computer, yes, the computer, follows the same pattern. The motherboard is the brain holding the central intelligence. The circuits are like nerves transmitting signals. The memory storage reflects human memory, and the power supply is the heart, keeping all systems alive. The cell phone, oh yes, the cell phone is another copy. The antenna or the signal receives mirrors the mind as both receiver and transmitter. Its battery parallels the body's vital energy. And the APPS, reflects the many functions of thought and imagination. In each case, the essence of human design is replicated in machines. Oh yes, they're replicated. But while these inventions mimic the structure, they lack the living spirit that animates the human body. You know what the living spirit is? It is the essence, it is the soul. They try to switch it up. But like I said, you have people walking around looking like people that have souls, looking like you, looking like me, in all cultures, but they don't have a soul. Only the soul can give life. Do understand that. The mind is a transmitter, and the receiver means it can tune into different frequencies or layers of consciousness. Your mind doesn't create the more profound truth, it interprets it and chooses what is attuned to. And I've told you about the lower and higher self. The lower self has a voice in your head, which is the mind, and the higher self has a voice in your head, which is in your mind, because it's the transmitter and receiver. It can receive distorted signals like fear, ego, trauma. If the crystal is clouded, which is the chakra is the crystal, it can receive divine clarity, truth, purpose, and guidance. If it's attuned and clear. Now, the lower self frequency. The ego-driven thoughts, fear, survival, competition, conditional patterns from society, trauma, or the matrix. Seeks validation, control, separation. This is the lower self frequency. Often reactive, scattered, past, future focus. The mind receives these thoughts when it's tuned to a denser, lower vibrational state, like a radio locked into static or distortion. The higher self frequency, intuition, inner knowing, unity, peace, original blueprint, divine memory, presence, clarity, expanded perception, aligns with truth, purpose, and the Great Mother. The mind receives this when still, open, and clear, like a crystal antenna aligned to the source signal. The mind is not the source, it's the instrument. Your mind is like a crystal in a radio, not the broadcast. It can tune in or jam itself, depending on the vibration. That's why practices like meditation, breath work, fasting, and intention thought patterns help retune it from lower static to higher signal. Jamming the signal versus tuning the signal. When the crystal, which is the chakra, of your mind is jammed, you get mental fog. The mental fog is that thing when you got something on your mind and then all of a sudden you forget it that quick. That's a fog. Ancient, anxiety, intrusive thoughts, over identification with ego, body, and fear, obsession with time status, separation, survival, emotional reactivity, and the compulsive behavior. This happenings thought, overstimulation, media, tech, noise, toxic food, chemicals, trauma, loops, discontinue from natural cycles like time, breath, body, and stillness. Now, when the crystals is clear in tune, which is the chakras again, you get clarity, inner peace, expanded perception, true intuition and synchronicity, access to the archetype symbols, patterns from your higher self, spiritual downloads, and guidance from the Great Mother of the All. Retuning the mind, returning to the signal of the higher self. To retune, you use spiritual and energetic practices that clear static and raise your vibration. Meditation, quiet, just be quiet, just be quiet. Take a bath, just get in the water, and just be quiet. Cut the cell phone off, cut noise off, just be quiet. That is meditation. Quiet the mental noise. Expands inner stillness so higher frequency can be received. The more still the water, the more precise the reflection. Breath work. Oxygen, life force, controls energy and emotions. Conscious breathing purifies nervous system channels. Help shift from egotist beta waves to intuitive alpha theta waves. So it goes from beta beta waves to alpha theta waves. Fasting cleanses the body and mind, breaks addictive patterns. I told you, we have habits that we do all the time. Habits are the same thing as addiction. And it's amazing how people want to say alcohol is addiction, drugs is addiction. Alcohol is drugs. And then they brought a new one called sex. But anything you do more than one time is an addiction, is a habit. Um, Sharpen mental clarity and spiritual receptivity. Empties the vessel to be filled with divine signal. This is fasting. Intentional thought patterns. Affirmations, true statements, and gratitude recalibrate your frequency. Thoughts are magnetic. They are magnetic, people. They sharp what the mind attracts. Repetitive or higher truth burns through old programming. Now, remember I told you at some point, the higher you are in vibration, the less you are in electricity. How you know you touch things and then you get shocked from it. When you become more magnetic, you don't get the shocking no more because your vibration is getting higher. When you attune to the higher self, you no longer believe every thought in you. You observe your thoughts. You pay attention to your thoughts. People, they tell you that people are bipolar. The word bipolar means two. It just simply means two. The left side of your brain, the right side of your brain. That's what bipolar is. They took natural things and made it a problem to make money off it. And you believe it. But that's all bipolar. Bi means two. Bipolar. Bipolar. Left brain, right brain. Now, you see ego patterns as external interference, not identity. You start to feel guided rather than lost. This is your higher self. Life begins to organize around you like a reflection of your inner clarity. And that's what happens. But you definitely analyze the thoughts in your head because you know that the physical part of you have a voice in the mind. And you know that the higher part of you has a voice in the mind. You know that. And you're not afraid of yourself. And so you listen and you discern between the two that is speaking. Most of the time, the first one that speaks or you hear is generally your higher self. But most ignore it. And they don't go and tell people about it because they're afraid that people are going to call them crazy. People always got opinions. And people going to always have opinions. And so, guess what? When it comes to you, guess who opinion matters about you? You. Your opinions matters about you. And that's what you stay focused on. Now, your mind is not the source of truth. It's a mirror, the lens, a crystal. The more you purify and refine that lens, the more accurate the reflection of the higher self and the great mother or the divine will becomes. What does the pineal gland do? It acts as a transmitter, a receiver of the astral signals. Where is the astral plane? The astral plane is where the moon is. The moon, the astral plane, and the physical plane are connected as one. When you fall asleep, you're already in the astral plane. That is your dream state. That is your chaos. That is your illusion. That is the atmosphere that will cause you to think that you're in a higher plane. And let me tell you how you know you're not in a higher plane. If you do not connect with the Great Mother, you're in the fourth dimension. You cannot go to that fifth dimension until you have your heart chakra is open. And I press on the chest because that's the first place that people think the heart is. This heart in this chest area is nothing but a pump that pumps blood. The heart chakra is in your head. It's the cerebrum. And then what the cerebrum does, it how you know that you're connected to your heart chakra is open. You are loving these people that are not lovable. You're loving people in forgiveness. You can forgive people. You cannot forgive people if their heart chakra is not open. I can tell you that now. Because the human side of you, which is the lower side of you, will not forgive, is going to hate. Anytime you hurt me, I'm going to hate you. That's how you know you're still in your lower self. If you still get angry about the people that have hurt you, you still have not healed. Healing has to take place before you can even enter into 5D dimension. You cannot go into the 5 mentally. You cannot go into the 5D unless you go through a healing process. That is important. And the tester. The testers are in that 4th dimension. They're the one you heard of where Satan and Lucifer come to test. Well, it comes from the 4th dimension. They are the testers. Now, it is the seat of illusion, not truth. Talking about the pineal gland. It can simulate mystical experiences, but many of them are artificial and the matrix filtered. It produces DMT naturally, which allows one to access the dream realm. But the realm can both be divine and deceptive. Without mastery and grounding in the pituitary gland. Got to be connected to the pituitary, which is the crown commands, and heart, which is the truth resonance. The pineal is easily hijacked by illusions, especially false light entities, channeling, deception, and ego vision. The pineal is the matrix system. The matrix operates heavily in the 4th dimension, feeding on people. They're the parasites. You call them the Anunnaki, but they are the archons. They are invisible and non-invisible. They are the parasites in your body. The tricksters. The pineal act like a VR projector, creating internal experiences that may feel real, but as based on programming and not true. You heard people say that there is some entities controlling your mind. They do in the lower state. When you're in your lower self, they are the authors of illusions. They are the author of saying multiply and have people. Why? Because when you multiply, you're multiplying that spirit that they have. You're multiplying, you're transferring it to one person to the other, and through your children and what have you. And that's who said that. That you think was God saying to multiply, replenish the earth. That didn't come from the Great Mother. That came from these archons. Now, many New Age teachers are caught in the pineal realm, accessing the 4th dimension, but not ascending beyond it. You can't ascend beyond the 4th dimension if you don't. They talk about love all the time, but love that most people say to other people is just words with no truth behind it. It's just words. Real love, you can feel it. It's in the energy. And you can't create it. You have to be in the 5th dimension to possess that true love. There's no other way. You know, and just keep in mind when you're around soul children, they can feel your energy. They know when you fix your mouth and say I love you, they're feeling that energy. And that energy is saying something totally different than what's coming out your mouth. Soul children are energy people. Once they learn in maturity, their mind, their body, their soul, they analyze everything. The soul children. You know, they say that the Virgo is the one that analyzes, and we do. But those soul children, when they get to a place of uh, uh, being awakened, all that takes place. Now, the serotonin balance in the 3D experience, distorted as happiness chemical, to be increased endlessly. The melatonin requires heart pituitary mastery to avoid false astral, distorted as safe lucid dreams, gateway for anyone. Natural melatonin aligns you with cosmic rhythm, distorted by artificial pills that overrides natural cycles. The melatonin pills that you get out the stores. Serotonin needs balance, not flooding, distorted through SSRTs as spiritual emotional healing. The real and the illusion. Melatonin key to dimensional vision. Serotonin is anchored in material function. Both must be spiritually governed by the heart, the cerebrum, and the pituitary. Distortion would be melatonin only for sleep. That's what they say. Melatonin is only for sleep. Serotonin, endless happiness, like a happy pill. Like, makes you happy. Like the dopamine. Both are treated as tools of control and sedation, not sacred chemistry. That's the distortion version of it. The secrets of the mucus in the brain. Truth hitting esoteric and biological knowledge. The mucus producing cells. The giblet cells found in the epithelial lining. I'm going to spell it for you because you know how I am. It's EPITHELIAL lining of the respiratory tract, digestive tract, and other mucous membrane. The unicellular gland, or shaped like a goblet, secretes mucus that form mucus when mixed with water. The mucus cells, also called mucus neck cells in the stomach, found in the stomach lining and other glands, secretes mucus to protect tissues from acidic or enzymatic damage. Mucus acidoid cells found in glands under mucous membrane, such as the salivary glands, trachea, and the bronchi. Clustered cells that produce mucus-rich secretions. So I'm not a doctor, so these words ain't gonna come out like the doctor speak. So The several mucus cell mixed glands produce both watery, serous fluid and mucus found in the respiratory tract. The submucosal gland specialize cells in the sinus and the nasal cavity, including goblet, that's Goblet, and all the words that I mentioned that I wasn't able to pronounce correctly. If you go under that goblet, it will give you those words that I tried to pronounce. Cells and mucus gland cells work together with ciliate cells to move mucus out. Now, the molecules involve the mucus, water and electrolytes, the antimicrobial proteins. Mucus is a spiritual and physical barrier. In its natural form, it protects tissues. But when it builds up in the brain, it becomes a blocker of energy, oxygen, and light. Excess mucus in the brain dulls perception. It slows down electrical activity, clouds intuition, and blocks higher frequency. It interferes with the function of the pituitary and pineal gland. Mucus blocks the cerebral spinal fluid, the CSF flow. The CSF. The CSF is a spiritual river that carries life force and consciousness up the spine to the brain. That's when you hear that the Kundalini going up. That's part of the CSF. The mucus buildup clouds the sacred channel, especially near the third ventricle, which you say is the third. The pineal gland is the third eye. It's not a third eye, but it's located in the third ventricle, home of the pituitary and the pineal gland. Mucus is linked to the poor diet, toxicity, and fear-based living. Dairy, processed sugars, meat, fried food, heavy metals all contribute to neurological mucus. So does living in low vibration state like anger, anxiety, confusion. Fasting, breath work, herbs, and spiritual cleansing dissolves it. Certain herbs, and I'm not going to call the names, but it's dry fasting can remove the veil over the mind. And the reason why I'm not going to mention what it is, because I use it and it does work. And every time you mention things that work on this channel or on any media channel, the chemical process of it changes. It don't do what it used to do. And I've learned that with the vinegar, and other stuff that's out there that people bragged on that works, that really helped them, and then all of a sudden it ain't doing that no more. Emotional truth also clears mucus. Tears are sacred water that cleanses inner blockage. Some of you can't even cry no more. The mucus. The mucus is the veil of the matrix. Symbolically, excess mucus in the brain is the veil. The slimy of the forgetfulness, you know how forgetful easily, that keeps one trapped in the third dimension. It disconnects the human being from pure divine signal, celestial memory, multi-dimensional awareness, which going to the fifth dimension, source, light, biological role, and spiritual distortion. Well, before I get to that, let me just go back up. And let me just say, when I talked about the pure divine, it blocks pure divine signals and celestial memories and multi-dimensional awareness and source light. I'm talking about those that have souls. If you don't have a soul, you can't go past that fourth dimension anyway. You never go past that fourth dimension. And in that fourth dimension, because it is an illusional type place, they're going to make you think. Those archons will make you think that you're in a different, higher dimension, and you're not. You can't go higher. You have no soul. And you can't go higher because you have not received the unconditional love. It is what it is. So the next is the biological role and the spiritual distortion. Mucus protects tissues in small amount. The distorted as harmless in any quantity, ignored entirely. Excess mucus clouds the pituitary, the pineal, and the mental clarity, distorted as having no link to spiritual perception. That's why so many people are suffering with sinuses today. Just keep in mind, the medications that you get, it treats the symptoms, but it doesn't fix the problem. Just keep in mind of that. Removing brain mucus restores higher awareness and clarity. Distorted as just a symptoms of allergies or sinus issues. Mucus producing food creates spiritual dullness. This is a distorted as a diet not affecting spiritual consciousness. Top mucus producing foods to avoid. The dairy would be the milk, the cheese, the yogurt, the butter. Mucus generates. The meat, the red meat, the chicken, the pork, creates acidic residue and heavy mucus. Eggs, especially when fried and scrambled, thickens internal fluids. Refined flour, white bread, pasta, pastries, gluten, sugar, white sugar, candy, soda, syrup, feeds mucus forming bacteria. Fried foods, especially in the seed, like oils, seed oils, canola, corn, sour, it clogs the lymphatic system. Processed grains, cereals, crackers, granola bars, slow digested coat lining. Gluten, wheat, barley, rye, inflames mucous membrane. Ice cold drinks construct tissues and trap mucus. Alcohol, especially beer, wine, increases internal dampness. Soy products, SOY, soy milk, tofu, mimic estrogen and slow drainage. Mucus cleanse physical and spiritual methods. The physical cleansing, the body brain. Dry fastening, no food, no water, resets mucus production and clears lymphatic pathway. Mucus dissolving herbs. And you know what they are. Your spirit will tell you exactly what they are. The hydration after fasting. Drink some warm water. I'll tell you that. Drink some warm water after you're fasting with lemon or chlorophene. Nasal cleansing. Native pot with sea salt or steam. Mucus-free diet. Avoid dairy, meat, processed grains, food, fried food, sugar. Raw juices, especially pineapple, citrus, celery helps this mucus, they claim. I've never had the celery because I don't like celery. I don't like the smell of it. I never did put celery in my dressing. Sunlight and movement both mobilize stagnant lymph node, lymphatic, and opens cranial flow. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I just found out that sun outside is connected to the archons, and it's a false sun. The real sun that the soul is connected to is outside of this earth. That sun is like a parasite. It drains your energy. And nobody can tell me when they get that sun doesn't drain your energy, because it does. Now, because it's false. Spiritual, energetic cleansing, breath work, long, deep, conscious breath, clear cerebral fog, and open cranial spinal flow. Silent fasting, stillness with no speech, amplifies subtle perception. Sacred tears, intentional crying to purge emotional mucus, grief, rage, betrayal. You know, some females with boys would tell their boys, some dads too, would tell them not to cry. A man don't cry, a boy don't cry. That's false. Every part of your body either does a negative or it does a positive. You got to know you. In order to know your body, that's when you get to know those things. Crown to heart alignment, pituitary and heart cohesion, melts illusion base buildup. The mantras are tunes, humming like that's false. The proper vibration to the higher is like mom, not The sinuses and the brain cavities. To get them flowing properly, you need to do them. Avoiding false vision, cutting off media, fantasy, astral overload that feeds the veil. True intention, asking the Great Mother to burn away internal distortions with white flame. I have attached some references, as you know, some of you got to have y'all references. You know, I always mess with my son because he's still in college, and he definitely into the what they call credible source. And y'all can have y'all credible source. I've been there and done that, only to be stripped from it. But I tell you to use your discernment because that's what's up. Nobody knows what's better for your life but you. I come on and I give you what I have studied. I give you what I have resourced. And I also give you, which is most important to me, is my intuition. Um, and I always tell you, take what resonates, and what does not resonate, I tell you to throw it away. Put it on the shelf or throw it away. And I say put it on the shelf is because sometimes you can be so busy and tired. Sometimes you can be too busy, or you can be tired and you just ain't going to get what I'm saying. Because what I say is not an easy thing to say anyway. And so you really going to have to use your brain to get what I'm saying. And I know that. And some people just turn the channel or they unsubscribe. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I'm okay with what I know. But I wanted to bring this in, and I wanted to give you this part, and hopefully, and some of the references, I had to go through them discerning, and I do exactly what I tell you guys. Take what resonates and what does not resonate, put it on the shelf. If it don't make sense to you, put it on the shelf. Go back to it. Once you go back to it, it ain't working for you, still throw it away. Because that's what I do. I tell you to do what I do. So until the next time, great people, take care. Enjoy your life.